What is up, kids? Travis here, Ham Chat Live. Hopefully this is connected now. It's been going in and out. But either way, got another great topic I wanted to talk about today because there have been many clients I've worked with in the past, and there's clients I'm currently working with right now that are going through having a little bit of a broken metabolism. I'm going to talk about what that is and how to fix it. Basically, what a broken metabolism is when your body's basically become adapted to what you're putting it through. So it's becoming less efficient at burning off fat. It's becoming less efficient at building muscle. It's basically just run down into the ground, not working anymore. It's also called metabolic adaptation, all right? And you typically see this with people that have not been eating, so they're eating less, they're training more, and they're overstressed, and they're basically just beating the shit out of their body, expecting it to adapt, and basically they've run themselves into a hole. And so the advice that I'm going to give here, oftentimes when I go through this with a client who's currently in this situation, they look at me like I'm crazy, and what you'll hear is actually, it sounds like ass backwards advice, but it's actually what you need to fix your shit, basically, all right? So, broken metabolism, how does this happen, all right? So, typically I see this, to be honest with you, 75% of the people that I start working with are in this situation, all right? So they're training a lot, they're eating less in hopes to lose fat, get leaner, lose weight, whatever it may be. And that's logical thinking, right? So eat less, move more. It has to work, right? And it more than likely probably does work in the beginning until your body becomes adapted to what you're putting it through, because our bodies are really, really good at adaptation. And so what do you typically do when, let's just say you started off, you've lost 10 pounds, and you hit a wall, right? So you added more training in, you're eating less, you've lost 10 pounds, maybe you lost some fat too, and you've dropped that initial 10 pounds, but boom, you hit a wall. You've been at this wall for a week, for 2 weeks. And so logical thinking would say, well, let's add in a couple more days of cardio, and let's eat less. Let's even eating less. And let's say that you do that, and maybe you chip off some more pounds, maybe even get a little bit leaner, but boom, sooner or later, you're going to hit that wall again, right? And you hit that wall, so what do? You try the same thing again. Let's train even more and eat even less, but this time jack shit happens. This time you actually maybe even gain weight, right? Maybe you even start going in the wrong direction. So this is when people start the downhill spiral, so to speak, of just really digging themselves into a deep hole, becoming metabolically adapted and screwing up a lot of other things, right? And so I'm basically going to talk about how to fix this, right? And so going into it again, broken metabolism. Hopefully you can read my writing here. So, metabolic adaptation is what it's known as. But all you really need to know is broken metabolism. So, what are some of the signs of being metabolically adapted? So, number one, so if you're trying to lose weight, your weight loss has stopped. So I'll just put a little check here. Fat loss has halted. Okay, energy's probably starting to drop. Performance starting to drop. Maybe your sleep starting to get shitty. You're not able to sleep very well. Like, it's hard to go to sleep at night. It's hard to wake up in the morning. You just don't have the energy. All right, these are a lot of the signs, right? So the biggest signs are going to be weight loss has stopped, fat loss has stopped. A huge one here, guys. Whoops. Hunger, right? Hunger hunger has pretty much stopped. Like, you're not hungry, right? And so it's funny when I start working with clients that are in these situations that are in a basically where they have a broken metabolism, I prescribe a little bit more food. They think I'm fucking crazy because, Travis, I'm not ever hungry. Like, you're telling me to eat more food. I'm trying to lose weight here. I'm trying to get lean. You're telling me to eat more food. Here's what's going on. When you have a broken metabolism, I want you to think of your metabolism, all right? So your metabolism's like an engine. It's like the fire should be burning hot constantly, right? If you have an efficient metabolism, fire should be burning. So you should be consistently hungry throughout the day. Even when you're eating more food, you should be hungry, right? When you have a broken metabolism, think of it as you got just hot coals, burning hot coals. They're starting to get even fucking colder, right? So how do we relight those coals? Well, we have to put more fuel on the fire, so to speak, all right? And so that's one of the first steps to fixing a broken metabolism, all right? Because if you cut that shit back down even more, you're just going to run yourself deeper into a hole. Like, you're training more. Like, when you train, it's a stress on the body. It requires fuel for your body to recover. If you don't supply it with fuel, it's just going to start running down in the ground. It's going to adapt to what it's being put through. Your body would much rather stay at homeostasis. It's trying to survive. So if there's no fuel coming in, it's going to freaking hold on to everything for dear life, right? And so to fix broken metabolism, one of the first things we need to look at is your intake, okay, or lack thereof, right? So a lot of times, well, when I first start working with a client on their fuel, I need to see what they're taking in, all right? Hopefully, they're fairly consistent, and so that's one of the first things that we do is we got to get consistency with your intake. Let me see what your intake is. And I'm just going to put up some numbers here. So let's just say I calculate up your numbers, your targets, and these are based off of your specific goals. They're in accordance to fuel you appropriately. This is what we come up with, like 200, 300, 100, as far as proteins, carbs, and fats go. We get your intake, you get consistent with it, and we find out you're only like at 100 and your fats are way out of whack, right? This is where you're at. So this is your ideal. This is your ideal, and this is where we're actually at. So we see there's a huge difference here. Like we're under-fueling ourselves. You're training a shit ton. You're trying to lose weight. We're not fueling our body right. We're well under. So we're like 100 grams of protein down, 200 down from carbs, and we're shooting over on fats, right? So we're not in a good position. So how do we get to this point? Do we just jump over to those numbers? That wouldn't be very smart to do because, A, you're going to probably start to pack on a lot of weight that you don't want, and B, it's going to be hard to get to that right away. Instead, we got to do a slow and steady climb. So we start the process in regards to fixing your metabolism. 20%, we're going to increase your intake by. Where do we want to increase that at? With your carbohydrates. Why carbohydrates? Carbohydrates are great at helping the body recover and repair itself. So what I would actually do, we're looking at the differences here. I would up your proteins by just a bit. 20% of where we're currently at, we're going to increase your carbs. So 120. And then fats, I'm actually going to start to bring your fats down, right? We drop fats by 20 grams. And so this is the first step in regards to getting yourself to where we need to be. So if we look at it this way, let's say this is where we need to be in accordance to everything that you're doing. So I'm just going to, this is a generic goal, like CrossFit Open is coming up. So let's just say you're wanting to kick ass in the CrossFit Open. So that's going to require a lot of fuel, right? A lot of energy in regards to the intensity that you're going to be putting into your workouts, all the recovery that's going to be required. But you find out you're way the hell down here. You're metabolically adapted. You got a fucking broken metabolism, right? We got to get up here. I'm sorry to say, but it's going to be a slow process to get there, right? So we start the slow and steady climb, getting up to where we need to be, right? And what I need to make very, very clear here on this climb, this is basically a reverse diet, right? It's nothing new. It's not something I invented. It's shit that works, that helps fix a broken metabolism. And this is the process of how it works, right? And so if you're down here, we're going to have to start a steady climb up to re-optimize your engine, to re-optimize your metabolism, to get those coals burning hot. What might happen in this process? We might actually gain weight. We might actually gain weight. We might actually gain body fat, right? You might be actually going in the wrong direction of where you want to be, right? So you want to get lean, shredded, improve performance, build muscle, all this stuff at the same time. You can't do all that stuff at the same time, right? First thing you should do if you have a broken metabolism is fix that shit, all right? So take the time to fix it. Slowly build up. And this is where people often battle me. They're like, I constantly get on them. We need to get your fuel up. Like, it's totally up to you. If you just want to starve yourself for the rest of time, go ahead. You're not going to see the results that you want to see. You're going to continue to feel like shit. Your performance is going to continue to drop. You're not going to see a change in body composition because your body is broken. Your metabolism is broken. We got to fix it, all right? And this is the way to fix it. You got to trust the process. I wouldn't be so bought into this if it didn't work, if I haven't seen it work over and over and over and over again with different clients, right? This is how it works. So you got to buy into the process and understand, once you get to this point, once you re-optimize your body, once you get your metabolism working correctly again, then you can start to do whatever you want. So let's just say we get back to here, we got a working metabolism, we can pretty much do whatever we want. We start to fuel the body in accordance to our goals. So we want to start losing weight, shredding fat, good. Let's start the process of doing what we need to do to shred fat. You want to start building muscle? Okay, let's start doing that. But until you get your shit fixed and optimized, that's what you need to do. And it's going to take time. Whereas the bullshit that you see out there in this day and age, just do, and nothing against keto here, but a lot of stuff that I see out there with keto, it's like, 4-week keto program, get 6-pack abs. Keto ain't going to work if you got a broken metabolism. Paleo is not going to work if you got a broken metabolism. Zone, whatever it may be, you got to fix your metabolism in order for that shit to work, right? So, fix your metabolism. If you're in this situation, understand you need to fix it. So again, if weight loss has stopped, fat loss has stopped, it's actually going in the opposite direction. Energy is down, performance is down, sex drive is down, hunger is like non-existent. Please believe me, when you start slowly adding on more fuel, and that's a huge sign that you'll know shit is working, is when you slowly start to add on the extra fuel, you'll start to get hungry. I love it when clients who are in this situation, I tell them to eat more food, and they actually believe me, and they follow through, and they do what I tell them to do. I'm getting texts from people like, Travis, I'm fucking starving all day. I'm waking up in the middle of the night. I'm starving. I'm waking up hungry as hell. That's a good sign. That's a good sign that metabolism is kicking back on. We're moving in the right direction. Let's keep pushing it that way, right? Don't look at fuel and more fuel as something that's bad, right? You just got to look at it from a different perspective, right? Ass backwards advice, I know, but this shit works. This shit works. And so once we get to that point, you can pretty much do anything you want. So things that you want to pay attention to, again, like when you start adding a little bit more fuel into your nutrition, you should experience a little increase in hunger. You might see a little bit of weight gain. That doesn't mean that it's bad because we can always turn around and shred that off once we get more efficient. You might experience a little bit of body fat gain, but again, we need to get to that point. We need to fix things. Then we can turn around and shred it, right? Okay? So we should see an increase in hunger. Sleep should be improved. Performance should slowly go up. Speaking of performance and training in general, when you have a broken metabolism, something that needs to be noted is your body's in a severe state of stress, right? So a couple things that I would recommend against is intermittent fasting. I talked about that yesterday. So if you're currently intermittent fasting and you're experiencing all this stuff right here, get off that because that's an extra stressor to the body. So I dropped that. And then in regards to performance and training, I would actually cut the training back. I'd cut the training back to allow the body to heal up. And in some instances, when I've done this with clients, we've dropped a couple days from training, or we've just lowered the intensity, lowered the volume of what they're doing. They've actually lost weight. It's ass backwards advice, right? So train less, eat more. What the hell? You're starting to lose weight. The reason is we're fixing that metabolism, right? So the grand scheme of things, that's what we need to do if you're in this situation. If you need help, if you got questions, feel free to reach out to me. We'll see what's going on. We'll take a bird's eye view of what's happening, what we might need to tweak, what we might need to change. I already went over a lot of it, but I know a lot of people have different situations that they're dealing with. So if you need help, reach out. This is the stuff I do. This is the stuff that I fucking love doing, right? And so if you need help with it, reach out. We'll fix that broken metabolism together so you can get the results that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off there. If you got any questions, I'm not sure if my live feed is collecting the questions. Sometimes it does. Sometimes the questions don't pop up until I'm actually done. But maybe there are no questions. But if you do have questions, post them up. I will answer them. I'll help you out the best I can. But to fixing your broken metabolism, if you have one, these are the steps to take to doing that, to becoming an efficient, fuel-burning, badass machine. All right? So that's what I got for you today. I'll see you back in the next one.